Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 7, The Red Sowing. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of House of the Dragon, so I have to start with the spoiler warning for House of the Dragon up to Season 2 Episode 7. If you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So this was more like it. This is a really powerful episode. I absolutely loved it. Kind of the one I've been waiting for. Not every scene was great. The stuff with Alicent was boring, for example. But the majority of the episode was really powerful. The Daemon storyline finally went somewhere. And of course the Red Sowing was amazing. We got to see a lot of dragon action, which was absolutely awesome. So the episode begins with Rhaenyra meeting Adam, who was writing Sea Smoke. And it's interesting that Sea Smoke was kind of, uncertain of Rhaenyra, and it was kind of growling at her when she was taking an aggressive stance towards Adam, but Adam bends the knee immediately and pledges to serve her, and so she's actually happy because now she has a dragon rider, and so she takes him back to Dragonstone, and he gets a cushy little room, and they kind of treat him really well. And Corlys, who knows that Adam is his son, is unable to say it. He just goes in and says, "Well done," which was interesting. So speaking of Alicent, she was sad. She goes out in the forest and goes in the river, contemplates suicide probably, and says she's not sure if she wants to return to King's Landing. Woo hoo hoo. And I'm just trying to find something. I'm looking for something, see if I can find it. I'm looking for my sympathy for Alicent, see how much I actually care that she's sad. Where's my sympathy? No, I can't find it. I don't think it's there. Anyway, so next, Rhaenyra decides to look for bastards. Mazera kind of talks her into it because she's looking more in the noble houses, and she's like, no, well, if you want people with strong Targaryen blood, you got a King's Landing. And because, Adam proved that, lowborn can also ride dragons, which is kind of sacrilege, as we'll soon see. A lot of people complain about it, including her son Jace, who's very upset. I don't really have much sympathy for him either, but he's I thought he was being a hypocrite, but he's kind of coming off from the perspective, oh, well, if anyone can ride dragons, that doesn't really make me special, and I'm just a bastard. But I think he's being, I think he's being stupid, so I wasn't very happy with him in this scene. So, Daemon in the Riverlands has that same sort of attitude when Oscar Tully comes to him, and he's like, and Oscar Tully agrees that he's going to bend the knee to him and pledge his vassals to serve Rhaenyra. However, when they get there, Oscar actually turns out to be not a pushover, because he seemed like a pushover in the previous episode. Daemon was certainly being a dick to him, and he was pointing out that Daemon didn't really show him much respect, and that he kind of made a mess of the things in the Riverlands, and so Oscar wasn't being that easy on Daemon. He was calling him names and calling him Prince, not names, but showing not that much respect for him, saying that Daemon actually, fucked up and and I think he's actually proved that he was a good liege lord, because he was listening to the concerns of his vassals who didn't like Daemon. So if he just said, hey, you guys gotta support Daemon and shut up, then they wouldn't really support him that much. And so he was listening to their concerns and saying, hey, there needs to be justice for what the Blackwoods did to the Brackens. And so he kind of says that, goes to Daemon and say, if you want our support, if you want our swords, you need to execute him. And you could tell Daemon really didn't want to, because the guy, he made a pact with the guy, and the guy was serving him, and he feels really bad about killing someone who was just doing his wishes, but he needs those armies, so he does the harsh thing. It's a really powerful scene. So then we go to King's Landing, where we see all of the Masir gets her word out looking for all the bastards, and we see that Ulf is kind of pushed into it, which is really funny because he admits that he's not even sure he was of Targaryen blood. He just says that to impress people, but they're like, no, Ulf, and they force him to go. Hugh, on the other hand, has a really teary, really powerful scene. I love the scene he had with his wife. Apparently, we find out that his daughter died, which I think happened off screen in between episodes because I don't remember that happening. And so he feels like there's kind of nothing left, and his wife is begging him not to go, but he says that he needs to do something. So he goes, and you see a bunch of people getting on these boats to go to Dragonstone. I think they know how dire it is, and their chances are, it's like a lottery, but if you lose the lottery, you die. But your chances are just as good of winning as it would be with the lottery, so not good at all. And so, yeah, it was a very foreboding scene. I really liked it. And when they arrive, Rhaenyra gives her little speech to them, and she's being really gracious. I don't think that she's giving them enough warning that she's when she talked to Sir Darkling in the previous episode, she was like up front with like, you got to be willing to give your life. You're probably going to die. And she doesn't really say that to these people. It does seem like she doesn't value them as much. And of course, before she gave the speech, the dragon masters, or the people who overlook the dragons, they all quit because they're like, this is ridiculous. First you put up, an Andal to try to ride a dragon. Now you get all these bastards, and this is not good, and this is bullshit, and they all walk out. But she doesn't care. She goes forward, and it seems like she's kind of pissing everyone off about this. But I think it was cool how she kind of walked in between them and was sort of having a personable speech with them, saying just how important it is for the realm, how she's trying to, prevent a war, and if she had more dragons that she could do that, and saying how much their service would help, and what they're doing, they're helping their families and everything like that. And she admits that some of them probably know that they're going to die, but I still think she should have told them all the danger they were in. So they show up and they meet Vermithor. Now, I got a suggestion. If I was on Team Black, I would put, if they had a suggestion box, I would put like a suggestion in the suggestion box for Rhaenyra. And my suggestion is, maybe don't start with the largest, most angry dragon when looking for writers. Maybe start with that other dragon. It's still a dragon, it's still huge, it's still scary, but it didn't seem as pissed off and eager to eat people as Vermithor, so maybe you should have started with the other. That would just be my suggestion. So you started with the angry dragon, and of course it started not only just killing the one guy who was trying to write it, it was killing everyone standing next to him, everyone behind him, and just started freaking out and just started burning people, eating people, sometimes burning people, then eating people. It was a really, really intense scene, and you see Ulf knocked on the ground, he runs off, tries to get away smartly, but Hugh is like hiding from it and this is actually really interesting for Hugh because he sees a woman in danger and he tries to save her life. He gives her advice when she tries to run away, saying no, stay here and wait, and then when it's time to move they start running, but then Vermithor turns around, he shoves her out of the way because he was about to eat her, and then when Vermithor turns on her and is about to burn her to a crisp, you can kind of see the fire in his throat. He's like, hey, wait, right here. And he is convinced in this moment that he is going to die. And he's like, come on, do it. And I think, like, Vermithor respected that. Because the guy who was reaching out to him was kind of shaky, looked kind of scared. He's like, fuck that, I don't want that guy as a dragon rider. And then, of course, everyone else is just like running away and screaming for their lives, and he's not really interested in that either. But when Hugh shows no fear, steps right up to him, and yells at him, and he's like, all right, well, I respect that. I want you as my rider. And Hugh totally isn't expecting that. He's 100% certain he's going to die. And so when Vermithor stands down, puts his neck down, he had that smile across his face, like, holy fucking shit, I did it. I'm not going to die. It was a really powerful. And then we see Ulf, of course, he runs off, and stumbles into Silverwing, not on purpose. He's just trying to get out. He steps on the dragon egg, and then Silverwing, instead of eating him, just kind of nudges him, and he doesn't run away, which I think is smart. I think if he ran away, Silverwing would have just ate him or burned him or something. But the fact he just sits there and goes like this. And I also think it helped the fact that he stepped in a dragon egg. I think he smells like dragon, and I think that makes Silverwing more likely to choose him. So that's why I think Silverwing chose him. But as the showrunners say, there's no like hard and fast rules of why dragons choose people. It's just nobody knows for sure. But next we see Ulf going on a joyride over King's Landing with Silverwing, and I get the impression that Silverwing just decided to go to King's Landing. I don't think Ulf knows not enough about dragon riding to actually direct it where to go, and I think it just took him there, and he was like having a blast. But then, of course, everyone at King's Landing is freaking out. I mean, I'm surprised the scorpions didn't shoot at him. They were close to, so it was actually very dangerous for him to be flying over King's Landing like that. And of course, when Aemon saw him, he freaked the fuck out, jumped on Vhagar. But I think maybe smartly Silverwing noticed that, and so started flying back to Dragonstone. You see Aemon following them, but then the closer he gets to Dragonstone, he realizes, oh shit, there's all these dragons there. They're going to fucking kill me, so I need to turn around. And in the after show, they were even pointing out that this is one of the rare moments where Aemon was actually showing fear. Which is very interesting. I wonder, they weren't clear on whether or not he could see the other dragons. He could see Vermithor and Syrax hanging out there, where they had that cool heavy metal rock band pose, which was a great pose, and you had the dragons howling. Like, that was absolutely amazing, an amazing shot. But yeah, I wasn't sure if Aemon actually saw that or not, or if he just knew, like, Rhaenyra has a shit ton of great dragons. He probably recognized Silverwing, at least I think he did, and saw there was a rider in Silverwing, so now knows that the dragons have a rider, because Larys and that other dude were too chicken shit to tell him about Sea Smoke, and so probably they should have. Anyway, that was just my guess. So my rating for the Red Sowing out of 10 is going to be a 10. The best. I love this episode. I thought it was really, really good. It was one of the strongest episodes of the season. I've been waiting for this episode, and I read the books, and to be honest, like, the Red Sowing in the books is just written like, oh, a bunch of people tried to ride dragons and they all died except for Ulf and Hugh and Adam. They managed to ride dragons, and they get into more specifics, but they're still kind of vague. This guy tried to ride a dragon, he was burnt, and this guy did it and he was fine. Whereas this is much more engaging, much more intense, much more powerful. It was much better than I thought it would be. Absolutely love this episode. So that is it for my review of House of Dragon Season 2, Episode 7. Be sure to check out my live discussion on this episode, where I get into much more detail about this episode, which will be Monday night, 9 p.m. East Coast time. The link for that will be in the description below. And also, I'll be back next week to cover the season finale of House of the Dragon, so be sure to check that out. Check out my channel as I cover many other things, such as Star Trek, The Next Generation, so be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that, and thanks a lot for watching.